this has taken a couple of takes so far.
It's taken
Yeah.
over, what, 40 now?
Yeah. We've got an extra guest here.
Looking all this in there in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, Mac in the back over there.
Yeah, Mac in the back.
But yeah, these guys, they don't need any introduction from my side. But for anyone listening, this is Test Press, Aberdeen based. Aberdeen originating in Aberdeen, Glasgow based. Right now, we're right here in the studio where all the content gets made. It's really cool to be here. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No problem, sorry, it's not the nicest studio you've ever been in, probably, but,
not at all.
It's homely.
Definitely homely.
It's lived in, that's what you call it.
Yeah, it's defo given homely for sure. Yeah, I thought it'd be really cool, like to sort of what I quite like to do when I'm having these conversations is sort of start off at like the sort of beginning, the past, look at sort of as well kind of where you're at, and then obviously maybe a little bit more into the future as well. So that's kind of like how I like to do it basically. So essentially, it would be great to hear sort of how you guys started off and how Test Press kicked off.
So basically, like, I was going to do a season in Ibiza, I think it was 2017 or 18, I can't quite remember which one. But like, when I was going away, I had production speakers, like, it's actually the same ones that are sitting here right now. You can see them in the shop, but I just thought, like, I don't want them sitting collecting dust in my garage the whole time I'm away because I couldn't actually take them over to Ibiza. So I tried to figure out, like, which one of my pals would get the best use out of them. So I thought, like, I'd known Dan for a while through, like, just going out and clubbing, partying and stuff. So I was like, oh, Dan would probably use them because he DJs in his room or whatever. Did you use them? But yeah, so I obviously gave them over to Dan for the summer, and then when I came back, I just was like coming to collect the speakers, and then we're just kind of like that day, neither of us actually had anything to do. So I was just like, oh, why don't we just make a tune for a laugh? And then
I think that Gucci Gang just came out.
Yeah, we both were like talking about that new little pump tune with that Gucci Gang. Like, we should just edit that, it'd be funny. And that actually happened to be the first Test Press song ever. I'm pretty sure it's is it still on SoundCloud? I think it's still up there. If you go on our SoundCloud and just go right to the bottom. I don't think we really deleted anything.
I don't think we have. We should.
It's all the archives are all still there for anybody that wants to listen to a lot of shite music.
So is that sort of where it like started, like those sort of like remixes and those like ideas were sort of SoundCloud focused at first?
Yeah, it was all kind of bootlegs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was kind of around the same era as like the kind of SoundCloud rap stuff, right? So like we've seen like Lil Pump, Trippie Redd, all these kind of people coming up in the rap scene on SoundCloud. So we were listening to a lot of that stuff at the time. So we ended up doing like the kind of like dance version of that, right? We were kind of editing a lot of their songs and stuff and putting them on SoundCloud, and that's kind of just how we kind of got started, you know. Being inspired by that, like the SoundCloud kind of rap movement, I guess.
And you know, obviously, your career is in music now. At what point were both? Was it at that point where you just sort of said, "Oh, let's just make a tune," or was there like a sort of build up to that point where you kind of saw yourself being more drawn into the world of music and performing? And
yeah, I mean, I was already DJing pretty much weekly in Aberdeen, and then you were just
Yeah, so at the time I was also DJing in different clubs. Like I was more like a kind of almost a commercial club DJ at the time, and I was making a lot of rap beats. So I actually started production when I was like 15 or 16. At that point, I think 21 we were around 21.
21. Yeah.
So I'd been producing for like 4 years, but I'd only just started I hadn't been into dance music that long, or producing dance music. Sorry. So yeah, it was kind of like when we started Test Press, I was kind of still doing a lot of rap beats and stuff, and I'd only been producing dance a couple of years, so yeah,
interesting.
It kind of had led up to that point, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So we just combined our kind of knowledge and got to it. So.
Awesome, because I feel like there's a couple of things what you said that are kind of interesting. Also, like firstly, the rap beat stuff, like that's quite cool because I do definitely think there's a lot of crossover in rap and techno and how you can basically make those two work. So that's really cool that you explored that. But also the fact that there's two guys working at their own thing, it could almost be argued that it's like a little bit of a risk that you would want to commit your future to someone. I feel like with that relationship, like I'm really intrigued because the people I've spoke to have all been like individual artists. So it would be really interesting to sort of just understand like how that dynamic works. between both of you.
It has its highs and lows, doesn't it? At the end of the day, it's like, see, when we travel to DJ and stuff, like we're grateful enough to be able to do that together now. And just thinking, like, we've been off to Australia and stuff, and it's a long flight. It's a lot of traveling, and just thinking, like, if we didn't have each other to do it with, it would have been a lot harder. You know what I mean? But then there's certain things where, like, I think Dan wants to move more into like Europe and maybe move to Barcelona in the future, and I'm kind of not sure because my life's based here. So you do kind of have those kind of, you need to balance it out. So we'll always figure it out.
Communication as well. Communication.
Yeah.
We always figure it out. You know what I mean? We used to live together as well, but we felt like that.
That wasn't good for communication.
Yeah. We felt like that hindered us because it'd be something stupid like we'd be arguing over like who left the dishes and shit. And we have to go make tunes and act like the best houses. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like there is that. We kind of realized that you know quite quickly that it was actually better for us in terms of making music and the career stuff that we didn't live together.
Yeah.
Which is kind of same for anybody. Like I live with like my flatmate PJ now, and like we've been best mates since we've been like 16, and even then we still mourn each other for like certain little things in the house and shit. You know what I mean? So it's one of the natural things, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't want to like finish your job and go back to being with your coworker.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. It sounds like you guys have it pretty sorted, to be honest. No, that's cool, and it's kind of interesting, I suppose, as well. Like when it's the two of you working together, I feel like there must be slightly more opportunities to sort of learn from one another. And I suppose as well, like as an individual artist, you know, I feel like people maybe look for a figure in the industry, or maybe like in their life that could maybe almost be a mentor. Would you say that you've almost acted like that for each other in a way, or would you say that that's fair, or like
we're always kind of pushing each other? Pushing each other.
That's a great question.
That's really good.
I think
thought of that.
We've kind of like we've had a few like kind of people in the industry over the years that we've kind of kept closer and stuff like that, or who've helped us out in certain ways. But realistically, because we are a duo, I think we've not really needed it as much as maybe some other artists who, like, if you come to the studio and you sit by yourself all day making music, you almost don't know whether it's good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, whereas we have each other to be like, okay, I don't like that, I like this, and we kind of feed off each other.
100%.
You know, whereas some people need to send their music out there and be like, oh, does this work? Is this good? Is this not? So I think we've kind of got that's a good thing about having each other.
It's like you can almost just like cross-reference everything we do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I mean, even in video, like when you have an idea, just to even bounce that off someone else can like completely change like what you're trying to achieve. So no, that's really, really cool. I like that because, you know, it was, if that wasn't the case, what I was interested in is whether or not there was maybe someone in the industry that had influenced either of you potentially. Is that?
It was constantly like people you see kind of that influence you. I think that's like kind of important. It's like you should always be looking at what's around you, not necessarily copying it, but at least like viewing it and consuming it and understanding it, and that's like your place within the wider industry.
I also think that like you're right, Dan. It also changes over the years as well, because like what maybe inspired us in 2017 when we started compared to where we are now in 2024, I think might be slightly different. You know what I mean? It's just about like always kind of viewing things and seeing things and being inspired by like maybe going out to club nights or like you know, listening to certain genres of music you maybe wouldn't, and then that maybe inspires you. But like it definitely changes over the years, I would say.
Sure, yeah, no, definitely. I suppose your style develops over time, and yeah, no, that's really cool. Would you say there's, I suppose, like you kind of touched on like how being together sort of influences how you create music. Do you have a specific process for that creation, or is it, because some people I speak to, like, you know, they'll open their laptop and that is like where all the ideas come out. Or like for me, like if I have an idea, it's usually like I could be like on a run or on a bike or something, and an idea would just come to me. Like what is that for you guys?
I think we do normally sit down and kind of come up with most of the ideas. I think see the samples and stuff like that, I'll need to spend like they just come to me randomly.
Yeah.
But like but yeah, apart from that, like it is just we just sit down and we just start kind of just grinding it out and just see where it gets to.
Yeah, I don't feel like I wouldn't be on the way to the studio and see the trees blowing in the wind and go, oh yeah, I've got a song idea, you know what I mean? Like I kind of go to the studio, I'll go, right, what are we doing today? And it just kind of comes, it flows from there, I think.
Nice.
I'd love for it to be the opposite way though. I wonder what that's like.
Triangle a bit.
Yeah.
Easier.
Definitely. Or even just like, you know, maybe like you hear a soundbite on TV or something and you're like, shit, that could be kind of...
Sample that,
Yeah.
It happens sometimes, I guess, like, from that side, it's probably like more like doing edits of songs. So like if you hear a song that you like, this maybe just came out, and you're like, that is sick, I want to edit that. Like that can happen, but from like things like nature and kind of just walking around and or maybe cycling or skateboarding or whatever, like ideas don't really come to me in that point. So when I'm trying not to think, you know what I mean? It's not trying to empty my head of ideas.
I do find a lot of samples in the gym, but I'll just stick on random playlists.
Yeah, it's because you're listening to music at the time.
I suppose it kind of, you may not have ever even thought about it this way, I don't know, but I'm interested like, what are you trying to achieve when you create the music? Do you have like a thing in mind that you're trying to hit? Is it like for the crowd, is it for yourself, or like what are you trying to achieve?
It is, yeah, because like we're obviously two separate artists as well. Like we have our own ideas that we have to kind of combine together, but like the way we kind of
bridge the gap, I guess.
Bridge the gap is by thinking like, would this work in a club? Like we make music primarily right now specifically for clubs, because we notice like when we go and play music live and stuff, we know what works and we know what doesn't so well in our sets. So we almost kind of base it from that and be like, would this work well in a test press set? You know what I mean? So I think we base it a lot around like live stuff, you know. Not consuming on Spotify so much. You know? A lot of the time it is more based around like clubs. But that does translate.
I think when we sometimes think we're like, we made this kind of big song in the summer, this could go really well on Spotify, and it does well. So it's like, we just gotta give it a try and then
we made the song of the summer.
That's funny, man. My favorite song that you guys made is "Losing Control." That's like I've just been absolutely rinsing that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What, like, it would be cool to like learn a bit more about like how that was made.
So with that one, I think we were super inspired at the time. It wasn't long after Australia. We played like 7 gigs, 7 shows in like 11 days. Whilst like traveling around the continent, and I think at the time we were listening to like a lot of Yana Selensky, John Mood, and like Narcissus, some of Narciss's older stuff. And it just like, I think we were just super inspired by that tour.
Kind of Eurodance kind of
like
bouncy, but so
even like a bit of Marlon in there, a bit of Marlon Hofstad, like you can feel like the soul synth, like so that was inspired pretty much by like that kind of sound. And then we found that I think it was the vocal, then we put the saw in, and then from there on it just kind of like wrote itself almost. But we were inspired a lot by those kind of artists at the time.
Interesting. That's really cool. And would you say it's maybe a little bit different for electronic music, but I suppose just out of interest, like, has there ever been a moment that your music or your sets have like influenced people in a way that's like unexpected to you?
I don't know. That's a great question. But I mean, we get a lot of like people coming up to us like, oh, we love your music, and you know, we'd be like say in Australia or somewhere like Belgium. We were in Belgium. We were there a few weeks ago. And we were sitting outside a restaurant, outside a cafe, and some guy walked past and was like, "Oh, Test Press!" Like, so we get recognised a lot, and people like,
see the gig later on.
He's like, "Yeah, I like you, but not that much."
We'll spend €10 on that.
So I'm not sure. We haven't really had many like specific stories about how it's inspired them.
Changed someone's life.
None of that yet.
I'm not sure. Like, if we're making music for clubs, I'm not sure how far we could change someone's life.
I was thinking about it, right? This is that's a great question, because like I always think, see, when you had like, you can always think back to one of your favorite club nights of all time when you just had the most amazing night. I always think like, have we ever given someone that night but just don't know about it? Imagine like they were at a Test Press gig and you met your future like wife or husband or something.
Exactly.
I mean, that'd be a super cool story, but
definitely.
not hard that yet.
No, not hard about it.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool.
You made a baby after Test.
Yeah. You're basically the dads. Like, Nah, that's really cool. And I suppose like, what in your sort of career so far has been a point that's really stuck in your mind in terms of like a high, like a career high so far? Like, what's for like both of you? Is it the same moment or like?
I don't know. I would say the Ibiza boat party for me.
The Ibiza boat party was great.
Yeah.
The one that I keep coming back to recently is because you went to go see Kenneth Leon.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I was like, it was just that nice like night or like last day when we were driving to like Sydney West show, and the sun was coming down and that, and like you're just blasting those tunes. I didn't really like Kingsley that much. And I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I think it was just that whole atmosphere where like the nicest car ever. It was just like one of those like we've done it.
iPads on the door handles.
No way.
Like,
it was crazy.
Like, massage you and stuff. It was
No
crazy.
way.
We were just like sitting in the car, and it was our last night.
I think that was like
in Australia.
It's not even like too technically career based, but it was just at the end of the tour, and we're like, yeah, we fucking done it.
Yeah, we nailed it. Yeah, it was full ups and downs because it was like the travel was a lot and stuff, but like at the same time, it was just so amazing to be like, our music has taken us to the other side of the world, and we're meeting all these people that like are like, oh my god, like how are you guys here? And all the shows were great.
I really exemplified it just that car.
Yeah,
it was just such nice. Like I've never seen sun like it before. Like proper, just like dripping kind of orange, kind of like sunset.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we kind of like, I think we maybe had a few beers just before we were on the way to Sydney West, which is a crazy spot to actually go play. A lot of people who ask from like Australia or Sydney are like, oh my god, I can't believe you played in Sydney West. It's quite like a.
Is it out of the way, or is it like just like?
It's strange. It's kind of like.
It's like the hoods of Sydney.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like
a little bit of Jersey Shore vibe.
Right. Yeah.
The people there are lovely.
Yeah. We had such a fun night. Actually,
one of my favorite gigs.
Yeah.
We see like to quantify that and say that.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's really, really cool. I like the sound of that moment. And is there a sort of idea of what success in this career looks like to you guys? Or is it, like someone I spoke to kind of mentioned how there's like levels to that success in terms of how they're getting to it. But I just wondered if you had like a point that you would maybe aim for, or like maybe what you got to, you know, to be honest, like what you just described sounds pretty successful to me. Yeah. But I don't know if there's like more.
It's weird because like you have the kind of overall success you want, the kind of money and the kind of be able to survive pretty comfortably. I think for us it has just been kind of baby steps. Then you take it like kind of look around, you kind of go, oh shit, wait, like how far we've come. Because like when you're kind of in the middle of the hurricane, everything seems like, well, actually that's kind of the opposite. Something like Canada in the middle of the hurricane. But you're in the storm, it's chaos and that. But
sometimes you need to take a step back like 6 months later and be like, oh wait, this is what I wanted 6 months ago and now I've got it. It's like, what's the next thing?
Yeah, I think when you get so caught up in it, you almost forget to take a breather and kind of go, oh shit, this is actually working out quite well so far.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just like sustainability. It's just been like, everyone probably thinks like, oh, your test pressure, like DJing everywhere, you must be like really well off. And it's like, we're not actually, like we're actually kind of more month to month at this point, you know what I mean? But we're just super grateful we're able to live from music in general, right? And so like
two people as well. Of course. It's one thing if like salary were earning, if that was one person, they'd be very happy. But I think it's two people, 2 sets of flights, something like that, you know what I mean?
That's really true. Yeah, no, I didn't actually think about that, I suppose, because it's almost like, there's more there. Yeah, there's more people. Yeah, no, I think you kind of mentioned something that was really interesting as well. Just the fact that you're in another country and you're there because of what you have physically created is a bit of a pinch me moment for sure. Like that sounds awesome.
It's always a pride because like Australia's like one of our bigger fan bases. Like it's really even Pegassi's. I would say he's bigger than us.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely bigger than us. He was over there and he was like shocked about how many people were like, oh, like he was there like maybe like 2 weeks after.
It wasn't too long. I think it was like the next month.
And he was just shocked by people like, oh, so you're friends with Test Press? He's like, well, I guess.
He was like,
to us, that'd be pride. You know what I mean? But for everyone else,
he was mentioning us, but like, can't believe how many people out here are speaking about you guys. Like, we were like, what? Like, that's fucking crazy. But we've always, it's so weird in Australia. Like, from the start, from the very start, the SoundCloud days, we always looked at our like where was the most played in the world. So it's always been Oz. Oz has always been at least up there. You know what I mean? Definitely. So it's pretty strange.
They do love like sort of high energy tunes out there. I swear. Defo. I suppose so. Like that's Australia. Like maybe just coming back to Glasgow a bit. Like, what was it like when you were doing your shows in Sub Club? Like, how did that feel when you got told like we want to have you in, or and how did that even come about as well?
So we did it through. It was the guys I was DJing for in Aberdeen, Rare. They basically, me and Fraser needed to move because we were getting lots of gigs in Ireland, and we're like, all right, we'll move down here. And then Rory was like, I'm putting on Rare and Sub Club. So it wasn't like a proper residency. It's a kind of interesting, kind of weird kind of grey zone. It was like a Wednesday night or something like that. Yeah. Rare Wednesdays. But it was cool just to be in that club. And I remember kind of walking the first time and be like, shit, like, fuck. Like,
because I think at the time, like, you're talking about like those steps where you're like caught in a storm, you don't realise, and then you're like, holy shit, we've just played Sub Club. Like, a lot of people at the time, especially, we were just like, that was like one of the bucket list things.
A lot a lot of people
Definitely.
killed to do
Such
that.
a legendary club, isn't it? So
Oh yeah, for sure. Like so much history behind that club. So it's like
Exactly. I think
really,
I
really
felt
cool.
the history a bit when we started it, but yeah, I think that's it. Like I think that a lot of people would kill to do that, and we was like, oh shit, we got some residencies up.
Yeah.
We took a while to kind of like actually take it, kind of deep it a bit, and actually think about how privileged we were. You know what I mean? For
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. No, that's awesome. And also the other thing I wanted to ask you about was the BoilerRoom X Fly set that you guys did. Like I feel like from what I saw on your socials as well, anyway, and the people I've spoke to that I've told I was going to be speaking to you, like that kept coming up as well. So like, what was that moment like as well for you guys?
I guess like when I was saying the Ibiza boat party, that
Yeah.
one probably tops it, to be honest.
I was lying as well.
I love the Ibiza boat party because it was just like we were like it was again one of those moments that was like the sun was kind of going down, like the music we were playing, that the vibe was just amazing. It was so good.
Yeah.
So that's why I love that moment. But in terms of like the big moment of the career so far, like specifically career, I would say the BoilerRoom was amazing.
Nice.
I mean, it's like we always get asked about this, but like it looks like we're enjoying it and having a good time, but realistically, Dan are just like in our heads we're like, just get through this, just get through this, just
Yeah,
get through this.
really?
You know what I mean?
I guess I blacked out almost.
Yeah, it was
No
just
real
it was like focus.
Yeah.
Make sure we don't fuck this shit up.
Yeah.
Because if you fuck this up, it's going on the internet.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's going to judge you from. You know what I mean? So it's, I'm glad that like it went well and that we smashed it. Like
Does it?
it's nerve wracking.
Oh, I can imagine, and that room was bouncing as well. So it's like you just can imagine, like I think it was something we actually touched on in another conversation I had, was like just that the fact that there's almost so much responsibility in your hands with that room. So I suppose that maybe is like where that stress must come from as well. Like
it's not so much the room at the time, because I think Banan would DJ how many hundreds of gigs, you know what I mean? It was the fact that it's like a boiler room is such a mysterious thing, and that's another
it can like that change your career.
Because a lot of people blow up from boiler rooms, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of what like how it was built up in our head. We were like, this could be absolutely massive for us, you know. So
a lot on the line.
You know?
Yeah, precisely. A lot on the lines are good.
That's cool, man. No, and I wonder, does it hit different when it's in it with a Scottish crowd? Is there a little bit more of a, or does it not?
We couldn't really tell.
I imagine it probably does.
I mean, we're enjoying playing a lot in Europe right now, which is super cool, because I mean, this year was pretty much the first year we've started to properly break into like kind of mainland Europe. I think it's just because of this change in music style that we're doing. Like we're doing the more kind of trance or dance stuff now, and that's like so prevalent in Europe, in Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and stuff. So it's super cool to be able to go and like visit all these places. It's always nice to come home and play to Scottish crowd. Though we played in Aberdeen like a couple of weeks ago, and it was so fun.
Really
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's class.
Super fun.
No, that's really interesting. I love hearing about all of that. It's because I mean I touched on it earlier. Like my background is in video, so like just understanding the sort of world of music is really, really cool for me to learn about. So yeah, thank you for that. But in terms of like what you're sort of maybe listening to just now, is there any sort of music artists that are like kind of having an impact on you just now, or even just you're vibing to?
I think Pegassi, Oldmel, Hegeman. They kind of like the boys are kind of making roughly similar stuff. You need to be quiet, please. I don't like your music.
Just to,
yes, the boys are making very similar stuff to us, and just big, like. Finish that. Big, like just high energy tracks.
That's it's pretty much like, to be honest, you nailed it there. Like I was trying to think in my own head like if there's anybody else, but realistically right now it's actually kind of cool because like what we're playing in the club is like a lot of the same kind of artists and stuff. So like our music taste is kind of like is very kind of aligned, right? Especially with the dance music stuff. And it's super cool because there has been periods of time where like you'll be wanting to play electro and I'll be wanting to play like house music, and then kind of like it's we're trying to mash it all into one set. Whereas now I think we're very much aligned on like what we want to make and what we're playing at the same time, and it's really like you can see it. You know what I mean? When we're playing shows, like we both get like so energetic and we're just so happy about it. You know what I mean? It's just working really well right now.
It's like complete credit to you guys for like actually being able to like be so successful to the extent that you can just keep going.
Exactly, mate. It feels amazing because there's it's been years and years in the making.
There's like struggle months still.
Yeah, of course.
And are you like, are you signed to labels or are you independent?
So the way it works with, you'd say independent, I guess, but like the way it works is you sign like individual deals.
Right.
So it's just like individual tracks,
Yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 maximum
Yeah.
options. It's not like
They're not album deals.
like bands and stuff like that. You normally say like a 3 album deal and stuff like that. You get a lot of money for it, but that's just a loan. That's technically just a loan from the record label.
Sure.
You've got everything you want in this world. Shush.
You're acting like you pays the bill.
Yeah.
Like so angry.
Look, it's so tough as well. It's so funny. He's acting at a moment.
Yeah, well, that's super cute. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we've learned so much about like your journey so far up into this point, and like the sort of one of the last things I like to learn about is like sort of what you're looking at in the future, like what is in the pipeline in terms of like shows or events or music, like what are you excited about? Yeah.
No, I think we want to try and get to America at some point.
Yeah,
that'd be good. We've came kind of close. And there's been a few kind of the visas. The issue is just super expensive, especially for 2 people. Like you're talking about $5,000 or so.
Wow.
Or like so you have to then organize a tour that creates at least $5,000 plus.
But then you need
the money.
But you need to fund it first. So you need to have $5,000 up front first to get your visa to then get into the country to then make the money back. So it's like you need to kind of have like a nice base of operations there where you can actually get out there in the first place.
Maybe the way to do it is you can almost go on tour with another bigger DJ and then they front the cost of it and then that comes off your wages. It's all a bit sticky, but like if US Border was listening, we're not trying to get illegal. We're doing it by the book.
Yeah. I'd be kind of sick though if you just did like a wee pop-up one somewhere. You know, just went to visit. You know.
I have a mate out in the St. Petersburg in Florida, called Greco, and he's been trying to get us out heavily for like a couple of years now, maybe like a year or so. But it's just like it's just a visa thing, man. Once we've got enough money to be able to like front the visa, I think there will be a couple of shows that we could line up, even just like smaller ones, just to kind of get out and experience it and almost cultivate a fan base there. But like
fan base still coming in America as well.
Yeah, I mean we're releasing on a streamer's label actually, which is a bit of a crazy concept. But
that is
Jericho, the streamer Jericho releasing on his label with MC Young Lil. The song's called Crystal. And it's coming out I think late September.
Sick.
So that is like he's an American streamer and he's got like a good like 300k followers or something.
He's big.
Yeah, and the thing is like he makes the music DMCA free, which means that like when streamers are
playing their games
and keeping us using the background and it's not going to get copyrighted.
Interesting.
So like a little turn in America and
definitely.
Visa, you never know.
Yeah, and have you ever like considered that like streaming some sets and things or just like online, or is that like?
I did a bit during lockdown.
I think everyone does.
I mean,
there's a massive influx of people just DJs as DJ.
It wasn't an original idea, I'll give that. But yeah, no, like I don't know, it's something like we're doing like kind of collaborative project right now with some other boys from Glasgow, like Celeste and La Maison.
Yeah, and Jude Bradshaw as well.
Yeah, Jude Bradshaw as well. And we're gonna try and like do like just like little exclusive parties in here and kind of like do like live streams and stuff like that to kind of just kind of create a little buzz around.
Yeah, just basically so we're gonna do our first release in a couple of weeks actually, and for the release party we're just gonna have a couple of people in here, a couple of people just drinking a few beers, like having some fun, like we'll play some tunes, we'll live stream it maybe on Twitch or some shit, and then just every time we release, which we're hopefully going to do one a month, we're going to do one of these parties, and then eventually if it pure outgrows the studio, then we can maybe start like a night.
That's sick.
I think that's the only time we'll probably do live streaming to that extent.
No, that's fair, and I suppose it's good to lean into the power of like online as well. When you are creative, like there's so much more that people you can reach, but there's also that balance as well. Like you don't want to like, it's something I talk about all the time with artists is like just like finding the right audience, and like also you don't want to like what you guys sound really authentic, but there's also somewhere like you're maybe if you're creating content. You don't want to be known for like a specific thing. Like you want to,
absolutely. Like, it's almost like you don't want to be known as like we have leaned into TikTok like quite a bit. Our manager's always like, you need to be in TikTok and stuff, and we fully get it. But there is that also on the other side where you don't want to be known as a TikTok DJ. It's almost like
it doesn't come naturally to us.
It's not like what would you say at that point? It's almost like fake. Like you're kind of like forcing a persona on
Mm,
TikTok to become a
100%.
DJ rather than it's just like you yourself doing your thing
Exactly.
to like grow your brand or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Anyway.
No, I would agree. And you also,
Sorry.
that's right.
Bloody dog. No more water bowl for you. We almost had a good run, man.
We did. That's all right. And you touched on Tomorrowland as well.
Yeah.
Like, so what are you guys buzzing for that? Like, that's on the bucket list for me for sure.
You know, the maddest thing about it is like, so we've heard with the artist area at Tomorrowland, right? Like, it's not like set up by stage, because usually when you go to like these bigger events and you've got massive DJs like David Guetta and stuff, your artist areas are kind of separated into like how big you are.
Right.
But like,
right.
apparently at Tomorrowland, it's just like
everyone's
in the same area.
Big
So
free
there's-
for all.
Sick.
yeah, like I assume there's gonna be like lobster and caviar and
Mate, I'd be disappointed if there wasn't. Like, yeah, it'd be like a artist festival almost, because if you're all together in the same one, like, you know, it's like you're like, there must be hundreds of you guys, like, surely, or like
Tomorrowland's a
dozens.
super weird. Tomorrowland's a super weird one though, because like there's so many different kind of like areas of dance music that it covers.
Mhm.
So like it's like a lot of EDM DJs like we would necessarily listen to and stuff like that. But like I think it'd be interesting to just meet these people, because we've met DJs in the past that like aren't in our genre, but like oh, they're super sick guys. Fisher was funny.
So nice.
He was so funny. Like right.
5 minutes.
Yeah, his set was crazy. I saw that in Bristol and it was like mad energy in that set. It was like really cool.
Yeah.
Cool guy, yeah. But the last thing I want to ask you guys is it might be a different answer, sorry, for both of you. But I wanted to know what your dream back-to-back would be, and where that dream venue would be. So where would you do it?
Oh right, the double header then. Oof. I'd say there's two answers for me. I'd say right now, like, we fuck with Pegasi a lot. Like we're relatively close to Sam in the industry, and I think like we could create like such an amazing set, and like specific to venue as well. If we had like a super sick venue, that could be cool.
And maybe something like Amnesia. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'd play well there.
Yeah.
But then also sitting down like a kind of Glastonbury, you know, maybe like mall grab at Glastonbury.
Mall grab at Glastonbury would be
That'd be
crazy.
That would be
I don't know how
awesome.
the music styles would completely
Yeah,
join. I think we'd have to mold each other, but like,
Yeah, I've seen him a couple of times and he's class.
yeah,
like,
he's so good, man.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah, really, really good. But yeah, I mean, like, I've really enjoyed learning about you guys, and I think like you both have a really awesome attitude, and I think like based on like where your career's already taken you, like it's pretty immense. So I think like what could be next could be even more exciting. So I wish you guys like all the best in the future.
Thanks
yeah,
for having us on the
my
podcast.
my pleasure, absolute pleasure.